Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on June 4th, 2025 at noon on a Wednesday. Let's see who's here. Richie Rich Rosen. You know what? I'm trying to put the enthusiasm in my voice without doing it loud because the voice, when I raise my voice, it cuts out. How are you, sir? We haven't seen you for a long time.
I know. It's been busy. So what's happening with you?
Okay. This guy, there was this job hunter ranting about recruiters and how awful they are on Twitter. Yeah. And so this recruiter replied with a ChatGPT prompt. Hey, ChatGPT, please write this so I don't come off as the jaded prick that I am. I wonder what he would get. I wonder what he would get from that.
Well, you should try it. You should put it in.
Yeah, well, you do that, okay? I just saw it a few minutes ago. What about this? You know, with Grok, you can go to Grok. You don't need any real spec, and put in you could put in a photo of yourself wearing a T-shirt like that, and say, "Can you please add a suit and tie for a professional look?" And apparently, the examples that I've seen, I've never done it.
Yeah, dude, my LinkedIn picture is an AI picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did you do it?
There was some site. It was like $10. This was a year or two ago, and it would you put in a few pictures of yourself and say, "Hey, create me, AI, create a professional picture, headshot," and it gives you all sorts of really funny ones. I've got one me sitting on with a nice coat on a private plane. I've got one just like looking all huge. In another one, there's with a turtleneck. It's like there's some with like a nice overcoat on and stuff. They're really funny.
What percentage of them were good that you really were serious about choosing from?
There were probably 3 or 4 that were really good.
And you're satisfied with the one you got?
Yeah, very much. And this was like I said, this was a couple of years ago. So now they're
my point was that now you could do it on Grok, grok.com for free, right?
Yeah, you can probably do it on Chat or Claude too. I bet it. Yeah. Just saying, I got to go at 12:30. I got to call at 12:30.
I was just going to ask you. I want to dick around with these lousy questions. If I got Richie Rich here,
Did you see my post this morning on LinkedIn though? I was up for 3 hours. I got 40,000 views on this thing.
I was going to comment on that about your content. How do you get such a huge response on LinkedIn? I have to say something. This show, I've got you probably saying the exact same stuff on the show. Every social media commenter says people love video. I'll put it up there, edited, 1 minute long. It doesn't take, any brain power. And I get like 33 impressions. I think that's like 1 second of viewing time. What's the difference? Why? I mean,
how many followers do you have?
I can't remember offhand, but is that it? I mean, there's enough. I've got a lot of recruiters following me. These are videos for recruiters, and nobody. Richie Rich, I'll put it on my Facebook group, which is like 9,000 allegedly recruiters.
Yeah.
And nobody watches that stuff. I can't figure out why. And you're getting what, 30,000? You said
40,000. I had 10,000 in the first hour. 40,008 in 3 hours now.
Yeah. Now I got to hear what you said, because you said you try to be combative and polarizing.
Polarized, not combative per se. I'm up to 48,219.
What did you say there to get so many?
It was just basically a little blurb on, stop working for assholes. It's really what it is. It's like the story how when I had this client that was just a jackass and treated me like crap, treated the candidates like crap, so I fired him, and then emailed his entire New York office, just saying, "You're tired of working for an asshole, call me." My best email, right?
And that is your famous email.
That's my best email, baby. That's the best. And just how that worked out. It was just
How
really,
did it work out? Because here's a few questions. I want to know exactly how you fired your client, and can that get you into trouble? I mean, the boss must have seen it.
yeah, it doesn't really matter. You know, what are they going to do? I don't work for them, you know?
But you can get bad word of mouth. Oh yeah, I work for a rich. I
Yeah.
hired Richard
You know what?
Branson.
You totally can. But honestly, I have turned down jobs because people were like, "Oh, this guy's the best." I'm like, seriously? I'm like, he's a piece of garbage. He treats people like he's like, nah, he's just really aggressive. And I'm like, no, he's gotten fired from 3 jobs for being a dick. You know, I'm like, is that what you're like? And I'm like, I have no interest.
Rich, here's the difference. This guy was your client, okay? And he could say, look, this guy I hired stabbed me in the back. He's betraying me. You don't want to use a guy like that, okay? And then he emails all. First of all, he walks away from the How did you walk away? How did you walk away?
Well, so 2 things. One, the way this got written is a little disingenuous because he was at an old company. Like, I didn't fire him and then call his team right then and there. There was a poorly edited version of what went out. So he worked at a company previously that I had fired him from, and that I just like, dude, I'm not working with you anymore. I'm like, this is a waste of my fucking time. You treat people like shit. I have no interest in being associated with you and how you operate. And that was it. You know.
Hold on a second. Wait a second. You just confused me. Did you fire somebody today or yesterday?
Oh my God. Listen. I'm going to break it down into storybook size words.
It sounds like this is a made-up story from 10 years ago or something, and that's fine, but at least
oh my God, I just said it. You got to play back the audio. You'll hear what I said. First off, the way the article came out was a little off base, a little off how it went. I don't really like how it came out, to be honest with you. Because this client I fired, he was at company A. I fired him. That hiring manager then went to company B. I knew he was an asshole, so I emailed his team at this company B. Right? It's not like I turned around, I fired him, and then recalled it.
That's exactly, and you know what? That's what made the story great. Okay.
Yeah. That honestly, I don't really like how that came out. That's kind of a goofy way to do it.
He went to Claude. You know, he loves Claude, right? So he went to Claude and say, "Here's what happened in real life, Claude. Can you ham it up a bit?" So I
told you. I use this great guy who writes all my content for me. He interviews me for an hour a month and makes all this content based on what I tell him, the stories I tell him.
Yeah, he doesn't make your content. He makes clickbait.
Yeah.
There you go, everybody. It took the recruiting animal to dig a bit to find out the truth. And look, I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. If you want to be like Richie Rich Rosen, I mean, when he didn't shave, I didn't shave. Okay, I wanted to be like him. Okay, all of a sudden he started shaving, so I had to shave as well. But the thing is, if you want to get 50,000 clicks on your LinkedIn stuff, do this, edit it, or if you're too shy to edit it, hire somebody who's a little more shady than you are, right? And he'll give you a good story. Come on, you know.
It's all based in truth. It was
based on a real truth. It's just like a movie. You should have a warning at the, you know, based on a true story.
Why we're talking, it's gone up 1,000 views. It's at the 49.
Look how happy he is. Okay, look how
I just think it's really funny. I think so far my best has been about 500,000. So I'm curious this one surpasses it. So, but
Rich, I found this interesting. Someone posted this, and I don't know if it's true, but it sounds interesting. He said, in a big company, the people you deal with in hiring, what's motivating them the most is fear of risk. So if you've got a really exciting candidate who's a bit off base or offbeat, rather, you know, has a different kind of career history than you might expect, but you know this person's really good, they won't consider him or her because it doesn't fit the cookie cutter mold. Is that true at all?
Say that again. That was a long story. So you got a guy that's really excited.
And this guy's got ADHD. If I talk 60 seconds, I'm in trouble. If you got a candidate who's a bit offbeat, Are these bureaucratic HR types, are they afraid to hire him?
100%. 100%.
Even if you believe it's a great candidate?
Listen, recruiters aren't making the decisions, man. We're just introducing the pieces to the puzzle. And here's why I like them. Here's what I'm thinking. And listen, the HR.
Here's what I'm talking. You say, "Hey, Billy, I really think this is an exciting candidate." You're not going to come across someone like this. And he says, "Rich, what was he doing between 2011 and 2012, or during 2020 to 2022 during the COVID?" And you're going, "Oh, gee whiz, you're missing out on a gem that you're never. Do you have a story there, a clickbait story we can use? It doesn't have to be 100% true. I like your stories, okay?"
It is 100% true, just not in the right order. I mean, listen, we've all had clients where they pass on a candidate because, oh my God, the guy was, out of work during COVID or something stupid like that. Or, how could someone that was a top producer get fired? I'm like, who the fuck knows? Ask the manager why you fired the guy. But you know what? Maybe you hear the story if you see someone that can bring proof to the table that they've been a top producer, or they, created, whatever the roles are you're working on. They've done X, Y, and Z for the company with these results.
So you try to prove it from my classic story like that is this guy's too young, right? Okay. And then you have to beg them to see the person. And then finally, if you're lucky, they'll recognize it. But how can you convince someone that if someone's been fired, okay, that's really scary for anybody. How can you convince them this is still a great candidate? Consider this person seriously.
Yeah, I say, listen, people have a difference of opinion sometimes. You know what? Fire is an ugly word, but listen, if someone's asking you to do something you are ethically opposed to, and they say, well, you do it or you're fired, does that make them a bad candidate?
Okay. If you can prove that it was an ethical issue, and you know what? Some, especially in sales, they might not like people who are too honest, right?
No, listen, sales is that's your misnomer. Like, sales is not a dirty word. Like, recruiting is sales. Recruiting isn't a dirty word. It's listen, the best salespeople are very honest. They tell you the truth. You may not like the truth, but this is the truth.
Okay, those are the best salespeople. That's not. Here's what another. Okay, this guy said most candidates think all recruiters are the same. I find candidates that other recruiters speak to, and they completely misrepresent the opportunity. They'll say it's hybrid when it's fully on site, and they'll say the role is one thing when it's actually something else. Okay, so there's recruiters out there who are less than honest. Okay, Rich. So don't pretend that all sales is clean and fantastic.
You're insane.
I read my evidence.
No one said everyone is anything. I think every week we tell you there's no always, there's no never, there's black and there's gray. There's not black and white. No one said every recruiter is honest and good. That is clearly not the case. Out of what are there, like 500,000 recruiters in the US and Canada? I mean, there's what, 1,000 that actually make real money, a couple thousand that make like real money. Most are not very good. They don't put the effort in, or they do what you just said. They bullshit.
Okay. Here's a Rich commented on something, and I took him up on it. ZoomInfo. You said you've been researching ZoomInfo, and you're not happy with it at all. You don't think it's worth the money. It's way too expensive. And that's a contact information finder for people who don't know. Okay. And it's what, $10,000 a year? Is that what it is?
If you're buying a single license, yeah, they're like 5,000-6,000 and up. If you if you don't find it, if the only way it's worthwhile is what I'm finding is if you can buy like a group deal.
Okay.
Else's packet.
You got people saying it's the very best and the most accurate. Okay. And you said you didn't. I've been testing. This is what Rich said. I've been testing out ZoomInfo, and I'm not seeing how it justifies the cost. And he says, whereas ChatterWorks and SignalHire, they did everything. Okay. Go ahead. You want to?
Yeah. I mean, listen. You need multiple tools, is what I was saying. Like ChatterWorks, SignalHire. they're fine. They're not great either. I mean, they're still 60% accurate.
No,
70%.
you said here that you need 2 or 3 of them to get good information.
I mean, like you can use ChatGPT to find the phone number sometimes too, or you use True People Search for free. But they all take time. But like Zoom Info, for the extra, if you're buying a single license, you're paying $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for it. You're not getting enough value out of it, in my opinion, at least.
Okay. Now here's the interesting thing. That posting of yours got a ton of comments. Usually you don't get a lot of comments. There was a ton of them, and they were all over the place with people saying it's the best, it's the most fantastic, the most reliable. And then you get someone like Bonnie saying, I paid for a full year and I don't find it worth the cost. I do Signal Hire is better. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, so you know what, with a lot of those people though, I'm willing to bet they never tried anything else. They're just like, this is the Cadillac of it, so that's what we're using. It's the big daddy in the space. That's what we do. Or, listen, I've tried them, just about all of them. And I will tell you, I don't think any of them are spectacular, but they're better. It's better than nothing. But like you use like a Signal Hire, it's a third of the price. And you can actually also, they have a free tracker for your website. So every time someone goes to your website, it shows up on a list in Signal Hire that tells you, hey, Tommy visited your site. You want to find his contact info.
Okay. What does this mean?
Signal Hire's got a great deal going on right now. It's $2,000 for the year, unlimited everything.
Oh yeah,
unlimited credit.
Unlimited credits for email and for phone.
Why are they suffering? Why did they?
I don't know. It's just a deal they got. The only problem they call it unlimited, but you're only allowed to max out 5,000 CSV exports a month.
Yeah, okay. So you just don't export them. I mean, I just click and copy anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy Steve said, I just switched to Seamless.ai. No, from Seamless to Zoom Info. He said, I'm in the tech sector, GTM jobs. I didn't get a chance to. I've never heard that.
Go to market, same as me, sales guy.
What is it?
Yeah.
Go to market.
Go to market. Okay.
Go to market. Yeah.
And he says Zoom Info is a disappointment. You get 50 to 70% of the business emails. That's business emails and phone numbers for a given search. Around 20% are bad. Okay. And I will not be renewing. I use Full and Rich and Signal Hire to fill in for what Zoom Info cannot do.
But Full and Rich is good too because it does a waterfall, but it's still not super accurate and it's slow.
Yeah, and Full and Rich can get expensive quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone else recommended
Clay does.
Super Sales. Have you ever heard of that? Super Sales?
No, never heard of that one.
No, really? Okay. Anyway, so I mean, I've got more for me personally. One guy says Zoom Info usually does everything. Another guy is we use Swordfish and SalesQL for less than $40 a month combined.
Yeah. Swordfish used to be good. I
thought Swordfish was really expensive.
No, well, they keep changing. Like I actually have Swordfish too, but I don't use it all that often. And they'll give you like 10 numbers instead of, so one of them may work, one of them may not work. I don't find it. It's like everything else. It's fine. It's better. It finds some things that Signal Hire or Chatter doesn't find, but it still doesn't find them all, right? So you're still at that same 60-70% mark, in my opinion. Okay. This is interesting. Super Sales is interesting.
Okay.
Next to LinkedIn, add your company.
Here's a warning that Tom has given before that I like, so I'm just going to isolate this. He said, full LinkedIn recruiter sends your emails to the focused
in-mails
to the focused inbox. He said LinkedIn Sales Navigator sends them to the other.
Really? Inbox. Is that true?
Yeah. Navigator. Now here's if you're a first degree connection, obviously they'll go to your regular one. But if you send it to a second or third degree connection, it goes to the other box.
No shit.
Okay, wow, that used to be the case on Facebook, and no one ever looked in their other box. That was the problem, right?
Yeah.
So Tom says LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which he supports all the time, he says it's only good if you're not depending on in-mails for contacting.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I always tell if you make all your money from in-mails and open to work candidates, stick with Recruiter.
That's how much you paying for the Recruiter now?
I think it's like $800 a month minimum.
Wow. Yikes.
Yeah, yeah, that just seems because you know the way the project stuff works, and then I don't know, did y'all see? Probably didn't see this, but this guy Jordan showed me this trick on the account section of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right, you go into LinkedIn Sales Navigator and you go to the company headcount area and pick human resources and do one or less, and then go to your niche or your industry or whatever and show all the companies that have only one human resources person. And it also includes talent acquisition and all that. So you're dealing with companies that probably are stressed out because they got one HR person.
That's interesting. That's clever.
Yeah, it works really well. I thought it was really cool. I did it and actually confirmed because a couple of my clients in one of the industries I did, I'm like, yeah, I know that company. I know Maureen. She's the HR manager and she can't recruit because she's so fucking stressed out. That's why they use me.
Oh, that's a clever. I mean, that's 2 for 2, buddy. That's awesome.
Yeah, and also you can also, if you want, go to in the account section and have headcount growth and find companies that are growing at 20% or whatever.
Mhm.
That one works well. And also you can then take that search, go over to the lead section, right? And then click on hiring on LinkedIn and see anybody who's got one HR manager who's got a bunch of jobs on LinkedIn, and then go at them like that.
Love it.
Okay.
I love it.
While we're still, Rich is still here and we're talking about tech, they had an argument about Pin versus Juicebox. Okay. And this guy said, I'm curious if anyone has a preference between Juicebox and Pin. I've been using Juicebox on their $750 a month outreach plan and have made a good number of placements because of it. He said, I recently trialed Pin. I like that too, but they're really similar, and Pin is 3 times more expensive. I want to know why.
3 times.
No, it's not 3. This Pin's like $300 a month.
So you're saying it's half of what is Juicebox?
More. It's less than half. It's like 40%. If he's
Okay,
paying $750 for a Juicebox, yikes!
So
Yeah, like I didn't even know it was that expensive.
I didn't either. Is this like Canadian or something? What is this guy
the
paying?
proper, I'll call the Rich, based, you weren't here, Tom, but based on what we learned before, the proper reply to this is a Chat GPT response. Please rewrite this when you're not on LSD.
Yeah, that guy's. I don't know who wrote that, but that's both.
Well,
those
that's good. That's good to hear. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, did you guys see anything about setting up AI agents using Microsoft Copilot? Apparently, it's very, very easy. Now, Rich has never talked about agents, but Tom loves them, right?
No. What do you got?
No, I do agents and typing mine. That's different. These AI agents that people are talking about, I still haven't wrapped my head around.
Okay.
They're difficult. So basically, you can again, this is very difficult for me to explain and understand, right? But you set an agent up to answer the phone for you, right? You set an agent up to it's automation, where if you've ever used Make and Zapier, it's easier than that, right? So every time you get a email that says, hey, Rich, your steroid collection had just arrived, then that agent will then take and send an email thanking
That's what he's
the
drinking
steroid
right
company
now.
for
Steroids.
steroids.
Look at him.
I had to fuck with Rich. He's such good shape for his age. I have to give him a hard time.
Okay.
So
Tommy
anyway,
slipped that in.
that's
It's a
how the
little
agents
big.
work. They work on your computer to do stuff, or you could put one. An agent is like if you go to Seamless right now and a little agent pops up and says, "Hi, can I help you?" That's an AI agent.
That's a chat box. Really. And
That's
that's a chat box. And some guys say this stuff about agents is just a marketing ploy. You're making chat boxes and pretending it's something.
But it's just it's a new name for it, basically. But it's still an agent. It's one type of agent. You know,
Okay.
Tommy's right.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's a lot of things you can automate now using Maker, N8N, or
But
Zapier.
you guys don't use Copilot yet. I've never heard you guys talk
I don't
about
I
it.
messed around with it. I couldn't get it. I mean, it didn't seem like it was.
It's not
Or
nearly as
new.
advanced. Yeah, of all the GPTs, the major ones out there, it seems like the weakest. It's just if it wasn't tied to Microsoft, it would be dead already.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Like so many better, like Chat and Claude and Gemini and Perplexity and
If it
Grok.
worked well, and maybe it does if you pay for the premium version, where it's right on top of your email box, where an email pops up and it says, "Would you like me to rewrite this, or would you like me to reply?" Maybe then it would be better. but I don't think it does that yet.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm paying for Office, and it's all there, but it's just never use it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm paying for Office too, and I haven't figured out how to get it to work.
Every time I try to ask it something, it's basically using like a chatbot. It's basically like a help desk more than anything else, and doesn't really provide any insight. So,
Rich, before you go, do we have time for a good question here before you go?
fire away.
Okay. Rich's business development top tip. This is his top tip. I found it somewhere online. Okay. Let's see if he can back. Oh, I never said that. That's what he's going to do to me. Okay. Try sending MPC videos to your past clients. Let them hear your excitement about a person.
Yeah.
Yep. What does that mean? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I said. You are right.
Yeah, you are. Thanks, Rich. The guy has to stab me before he runs
Wait,
away.
okay.
Okay.
So I got this document up, like in Word, and I got Copilot up, and it says one of its own prompts in Copilot was, "Say, summarize the main points of this page." I'm like, all right, sure, because it's this whole project I'm working on. And then it goes, "We're sorry, the content of this page isn't available right now." I'm like, you just asked. It's anyhow.
That's funny.
Sometimes these tech companies, I tried to pay my internet online. It kept rejecting my payment. And so then I phoned them up. Okay. And they're like the biggest supplier provider in Canada. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I phoned them up, and it kept saying, enter your phone number so we can access your account. Right. I did it, and they press a hashtag. Then again, enter your phone number. And then again, enter your phone number. And then finally she says, do you have your account number? It's the automated voice. So I was on their webpage. I had my account number. I put it in. Nothing happens. Put it in. Nothing happens. And they says, well, hold on a second while I get you somebody to talk to, an agent. It took 20 minutes to get the agent. They're a technology company. Really. It's wild. So you're telling me that Microsoft, they're also screwed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this page, I go and cut and I'm like, all right, let me cut and paste the content. I put in the content, 9,700 calories, 9,700 characters. We max out at 8,000. So we can't even do it.
Okay.
What a piece of crap.
First, tell us about these MPCs. So you'll video yourself just like you are now, or do you pretend that you're in a suit? Do you tell Grok to put a suit on you or something?
Nah, I do. What you see is what you get.
Okay, so you're wearing a T-shirt that's showing off all your steroid.
Sorry, Rick.
You're all juiced up, your muscles, right?
Now that's gonna come back
If you
on
saw
me.
me in real life, you would realize I am absolutely the farthest thing from juiced up.
Okay, and so you're there with your map behind you, and what does it say? Is it personalized to one guy, or is it just general? It doesn't say, hi, Billy, it's Rich.
No, I mean, listen, you send a list out to everyone named John or Mike or Tommy or Animal or whatever, and now it's personalized to them. But I don't even think that stuff matters anymore. Everyone knows that crap. Like none of these guys are like, oh my God, he said my name.
What do you do? Say, hi, it's Rich Rosen. I'm a
I just say, I would say, hey, listen, I heard you guys are looking, like, if I'm sending an MPC video out to someone, I would say, hey, listen, I'm not sure if you've seen my content or posts or whatever, but I work with a lot of venture capital firms, and I know what, I've hired 1,200 sales guys or whatever. I started all different ways. I haven't done them in a while, but I've been so busy on these other searches. But normally I started off saying, hey, listen, I understand you guys have a need for XYZ. I've got this candidate that's done A, B, and C. I'd love to set up a time for you guys to chat. Give me a ring. That's it. Super simple, super sweet. You can throw in, hey, I work with all the VC firms. You can make like a cold call, whatever you want to do. But either way,
what's your call to action though? At the end, what's your call to action? The
call to action, hey, let's set up a time to talk.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Or sometimes a lot of people say you don't even put a call to action now. I don't know if I buy it or not, because
let's set up a time to talk is a call to action.
No, I understand that, but a lot of people don't even. A lot of experts now are like, you don't need to do that on an outbound, because they should know if they're going to get back to you, they're going to get back to you.
Okay,
right?
So
I don't know if I agree with that or not, but that's just the theory.
No, I like the way you did it, but how do you follow up on that after?
Well, then I'll either send a voice, like a vocal email, which is like a voice text or whatever, or I'll just shoot a note and say, hey, listen, or I'll text them and say, hey, did you see the video? Didn't know if you had any trouble opening it, but this guy's a great candidate who's done it, who's right in your wheelhouse.
And how many times will you follow up?
Usually several. It's like there's no set time. Like
Okay.
if I have it on a campaign, it'll go on forever. But if it's just like a
No,
one-off
okay. You
thing,
mean you'll follow up till one of you dies? Is it the Tom
yeah,
Tuna rule?
more or less.
Really? For business development? Doesn't that drive people crazy? Say, I hate Rich?
They might, or they'll call me back and they'll remember my name next time they need someone to hire.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's all about remembering your name, making an impact.
What's the downside? They don't like me. Who the fuck cares? They're not using me anyway.
Exactly. That's what I don't understand. Who cares if they don't like you if they're not going to use you?
It's like, oh no, someone who's not paying me is still not paying me. Oh no. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Tommy, I'm gonna go broke. This guy's who's not paying me, still not paying me. Oh bye.
You're either a client or a source. There are no in-betweens.
Rich also
I tell you this funny story from this morning, then I got to hop. But this guy, I call this dude, a candidate. He hangs up on me. I've sent the guy 100 texts and emails. Hangs up on me. And so I text him back. I'm like, dude, really, as a sales rep yourself, that's your go-to, so he's like, dude, I'm at the pediatrician with my 2 kids, and you're making cold calls and taking it personally. I'm like, I'm not taking it personally at all. I'm just can't believe that, someone with your level of sales skills, that's your go-to is hang up, not saying, hey, listen, I'm at a doctor's, call me later, or I'm not interested, whatever. But just to instantly hang up on someone as a sales guy,
And you're a sales guy. You expect people to listen to your pitches,
Well,
your products, and change, but you won't listen to mine? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, that's what I said. I'm like, dude, if you want a funny story, I'm give me a call. I'll tell you about the last time this guy hung up on me. He became one of my best clients.
that guy?
Not
That
this
guy?
guy. No, not this guy. But that really did happen. But that guy didn't hang up on me. We had a big argument. But this guy became one of my best clients, not this candidate. This guy years ago became one of my best clients and even came to work for me for a while. This VP
That guy.
Yeah.
He's dead now, so we can't go and check with him.
But whatever. I'm like, dude, 30 years.
You got to tell your clickbait writer that story, okay?
Yeah, I will. Trust me, I will.
But no. Before you go, Rich.
Yeah.
So, are you putting a link in there to a video on Loom, or do you really embed the video right in the email? And the
You
second
can't
question
embed
there.
anymore.
Okay, doesn't it cause a problem? Doesn't it go to spam with your videos?
Yeah, it depends it depends. If it's someone I don't know, sometimes I'll send it on LinkedIn. Sometimes I'll do it another way. All right, I got to hop. I'm already late.
All right, thanks for
Later.
coming.
All right, guys. See you later.
Great.
Ciao.
Okay,
To
we
follow
got
up
to
on that
Sasha.
animal.
What?
To follow up on that, yeah. So you can't embed anymore. You can try, but it's very, very difficult. And a lot of them won't even let you embed. Even if it's embedded, it won't let it deliver. Right. So you have to use the link. And yes, you're right. It will send you to spam. So the people who are doing this are being very strategic about it, or like Rich said, sending it on different platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, or whatever, where it doesn't get moved to spam.
Okay. Sasha, do you want to say anything? Or I know maybe you're not there anymore. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, but I have shitty connection, so I'm gonna be.
See, she knows all the English words, the good ones. Okay. Maybe you swear at your family in English and they don't understand it, so that's how you use it. I can swear in a foreign language because that's how my father talked to us.
Oh,
I know. Okay.
well,
so
listen,
Tommy,
our swear words are much better and like more. They have more sauce in it versus like English language swears. So yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I'm swearing in my
Yours
native
probably have a lot of
native
stuff about
language.
your mother. Okay. Okay. Now I have to find. Tommy did. He did a search on Claude or a few different AI tools for a good training program for recruiters. And you told me you want to talk about that today. Am I right, Tom? Do you remember?
Oh, no, I just said that I would do it, and then if you wanted to, we could talk about it or see how because I made that prompt basically. Remember I said I thought a better way to do this would be a better prompt because that prompt was really lame in my opinion. So I took basically what I did is, let me go to my prompt. I said, where is it? You are did I do recruiting trainer advisor? What did I do? I basically said you are like you have all the you have all the knowledge of these guys, right? all the knowledge of
You had Finkel, you had Danny Cahill.
yeah. And so basically it was like, oh, here it is. You're an expert in permanent placement and recruitment in the search and recruitment world, and you have over 20 years experience based on the best practices, training, and resources of recruiting training expert Steve Finkel, author of Breakthrough on the Client, blah, blah, Pete Lefkowitz, Tony Byrne, Danny Cahill, as well as classical selling skills and training of Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, Brian Tracy, Grant Cardone. Can you develop a recruiter training program that focuses on business development, client acquisition, dealing with objections, and closing the search for permanent placement, includes bullet-pointed workbook guide and cheat sheet for phone, cold calling, and search intake calls?
Okay, now this guy, so I went through it, and it's great. I mean, someone can, generate their own, but we could also send them this one if they're interested. Okay, but let's go through. I'll go through some of these point by point. I mean, there's a lot that are interesting. For business development, the first thing it said, and it changes. It goes over the same stuff a number of times, but some of them change. Okay?
Yeah, I didn't have time to analyze it. So if it
I
does
did
have
it. I did
I'll
it
fix
for
it.
you.
I'll
Okay.
fix it.
So the first time it said lead within, when you're talking to somebody on a business development call or an email, lead with industry insights, not pitches. We just heard Rich saying, I work in your field. Okay, essentially that's what he says. And I know a lot of VCs and et cetera, et cetera. So is that a pitch? That's not an industry insight. What is an industry insight? Have you ever gone in with that? Are you listening to me, or do I have to beg?
I'm coughing. Give me a second. So one of the things we've talked about is that when you're trying to go into recruiting, you don't have an MPC. How are you going to go into it? So that's how you would use industry insights, right?
Give me an example of an industry insight for a recruiter. In fact, maybe for your industry, but I believe.
So I'll give you an example. I secured a new
never
client.
used that.
I secured a client without an MPC by using basically industry, or not industry insights, but like gap selling or spin selling, where you're like, hey, John, my name's Tom Alascio. I gave him my elevator pitch about I am the best at what I do. This is what we've done for companies like yours, and this is how we've succeeded, which led to him wanting to set up another more intensive call, right? So I led with an industry insight that I know his business. I know how hard it is to find these particular type of people, and that I've done a very good job doing it in the past with these type of companies that he was familiar with.
Okay, you don't understand the English, the two words industry insight, okay? That was
the industry insight. I know your fucking industry. Here is an insight.
Okay. Oh, hey, audience, if anybody watches this, this is obviously he's just giving a pitch, okay? He's touting himself about how great
industry insight, though. I mean, it has to be a pitch. You're trying to get them. What do you just call up and go, I got an industry insight for you? No, it doesn't work that way.
Industry insight is, hey, Tom, I'm selling software for recruiters, and I got to tell you, some people are spending a lot of money on Zoom Info, and not everybody's really satisfied with it. So before you make a purchase like that, you should consider alternatives. I myself,
that's a pitch.
No. Okay, I might not even be selling. I'm just coming up. I might not be selling contact management software, but but okay. But that's information about the tools. Okay, somehow you're telling them something that they might not know that we just discussed here for a half an hour, right? Or I'm having some trouble coming up with one. That's what I'm asking you about.
I sent you two. Which one are you talking about? Which? Tell me what it says at the very top.
Elite one, the one that's called
Elite Recruiter Training Program.
The second one, okay?
So core principles, master wisdom.
Information, okay? The second thing, it's ask for 5 minutes, deliver value in 3. What value, okay? Again, industry insights. Deliver value in 3. What? You don't know this guy or woman? What are you going to deliver value in 3? Okay, no, maybe I'll just pass on it. It's not good, okay? Share market intelligence regularly. What do they mean? What does that mean?
Where we are. So partnership building, become their talent advisor, not vendor, share market intelligence regularly, offer solutions beyond just filling jobs, create exclusive partnerships if possible. So basically, we talk about this when everybody says top of mind, when you're doing an email campaign, right? And I would also partner this with LinkedIn as well. right? So share market intelligence. You send an email that says, hey, did you see this acquisition? Hey, did you see this CEO who's a great guy left and went to your direct competitor, right? So that's market intelligence. If you find out something ahead of time that maybe no one knows, right? Those are solutions beyond filling jobs. You are looked at as not only the go-to for, let's say you work in front-end development software for the hotel industry, and you're able to give him insights about the industry that he hasn't heard about yet that comes out in the news.
That's an industry insight, okay? Oh, David M. Morris, I admitted him, and he didn't come up here, and then Sasha disappeared. You bored Sasha to death, Tom, trying to come up
Yeah, Tom.
bullshit, okay? You would not back up your, okay. And this guy says, offer solutions beyond just filling jobs.
Yeah.
What on earth does that mean?
That's, again, it goes back to when, okay, let me ask you a question. What does a business consultant do? A business consultant, right? He will give them solutions for growing their department, solutions for cutting costs, solutions for software. If you have I'll give you an example. I recommended a particular software to a client of mine, right? That I thought would be good for his organization. No money for me or nothing. I just saw another company like his using it. And I said, hey, you should check this out.
And what
Like
happened?
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. It's just it's stuff that I recommend to clients because I think it's good for them. That I think is a solution beyond filling a job, right?
Yeah, but this is okay. You know, I'm not handling this one too
You're
well.
purveyor of
I am not.
information.
I'm not handling this one well. What are they? Okay, here's where it gets a little better. It's in the rebuttals. Okay, we're not hiring, and so it tells you to say many of my best clients say the same thing initially. Here's why they changed their minds. Do you like that one? Okay, nobody's listening.
Yeah, I would say I understand many of my best clients say the same thing initially. And then you could go into the Steve Finkel smiling in my mind rebuttal. And then the other one was, are you saying you're fully staffed in all your departments, right? Does that mean every department doesn't have an issue? That's exploratory. Smart companies interview talent before they need them. You know, Animal, if you called me tomorrow and said, hey, I need you to find me a guy like this, it may take me 6 months, and I got the motherfucker today. Don't you want to talk to him? And let's discuss your biggest challenge for 5 minutes. Fine, you're all filled, but what is your biggest challenge, your talent challenge? When do you always have an issue? What is that position that's always a pain in the ass to fill, even though you're filled right now?
Okay, 2 questions there. First of all, no recruiter is supplying people for interviews for 6 months from now. Okay, that's ridiculous.
You're keeping your eye out for candidates like that because they may need somebody in 6 months.
Okay,
It's all about having a what is called the hardest position to fill candidate.
No, let's take them one at a time. You look, he's dodging. Okay, everybody.
Okay, I'm not dodging. Go ahead. Ask him. Go ahead.
Okay, Tom, you don't have to take it too personally. This was generated.
No, I love this. Dude, this is what I do for a fucking living. I love overcoming objections. I love it.
You're dodging stuff for a living. It says smart company. He says, we're not hiring. And you say, hey, Billy, smart companies interview talent before they need it. So in other words, the implication is there. Why don't you see some of my candidates just so you'll know who they are? And in the future, when you need somebody, you'll have a talent pipeline. That's what you're telling him.
So here's the thing. No, that's not it. And Animal, you're looking at this as it's telling you exactly what did that say, right? So when someone says to me,
around it, yeah, I am, because that's what they are telling me.
Okay, they're giving a lot of little dots after the end, right? And they're putting these in quotes. And it's basically saying common objections and responses. Now, I take this as smart companies interview talent before they need them. Is that you develop to say that in your own way in your conversation, right? So we're not hiring. Hey, Steve, I completely understand that. But I've been doing this in the bottle washing business for a very long time. And what I found is a lot of leaders that I deal with, they're smart enough to interview talent before they need them because they know some of the positions are so hard to fill. And I'll give you an example. If you call me about a guy like this, it may take me 3 or 4 months to find him, but I got him today. Wouldn't you want to at least know about him? He might fit in a role that you have right now that you're not thinking about. Or maybe you got that one candidate, man, that one guy who works for you who comes in late. And if he came in tomorrow and put in his notice, you'd be like, oh, it's so sorry to lose you, Animal. I hate to lose you. But you'd be sitting back smiling in your mind because you'd love to see that guy go. Well, this guy can replace him.
Okay, that was a very good presentation. It was a lousy argument, but it was a good presentation. You did it very well in a conversational way. I loved it. Now I would give you a top
That's
mark.
what this. You have to do this in a conversational way.
Yeah, but
you
the
can't
point is-
attack them on the call.
Okay, so everybody, he switched from the you should be looking at talent in advance, which is the one we were arguing. This is how a salesperson works, I guess. They change the topic. They'll do it if you're
Is that
someone
still not looking at the
won't let me
talent in
finish.
advance?
He won't let me finish. It's just like in the news where they get someone up there and a politician, they ask him one question, he answers another. Okay, it's a dodge. Now, what Tom said, again, the smart leaders, they like
And you
to
do understand this is all one rebuttal, right?
No, it
You
isn't.
aren't for-
No,
yes, it
it
is.
isn't.
It
No, it
is. Kate, yes, it is. Animal, wait a second. Let me
It
talk.
is.
Let me talk. Well, I want you to look at what it says, the ACER method: acknowledge, clarify, educate, redirect. We're not hiring. Acknowledge. I understand many of us clients say the same thing. Clarify. Are you saying you're fully staffed? Educate. Smart companies interview talent before they need them. Redirect. Let's discuss your biggest challenge for the next 5 minutes. That is what that is. Those aren't four separate rebuttals. That is one rebuttal to we're not hiring. The next one is we use internal recruiters at HR. That's great. It shows your value in quality hiring. How is that working out for your hard to fill positions? Actually, what we do is we complement internal teams for specialized roles such as blah, blah, blah. So let me ask you a question. What position has been open the longest? That is an entire rebuttal, those 4 things.
Okay, let me reply to that. Okay, you can't hide that one that I'm saying doesn't make any sense in these others, which I can take separately. But it's smart leaders look at people even when they don't want to hire. How can that make sense for a recruiter to say that you're helping this guy build a talent pipeline for the future when you're not there representing that candidate?
Acknowledge,
Okay?
clarify, educate, and redirect. Redirect.
David M. Marr, I don't know. I guess you're not listening, but this guy.
Hey, David, am I right or wrong?
No, he's
I
not.
agree with what Tom's saying.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It
You know
says
what?
it right there. It's the
wasn't
ACER
listening.
method. You don't understand the ACER method.
Yeah. Okay. I like this one. When they say your fees are too high, the recruiter says not compared to the cost of a bad hire. Okay.
I appreciate you being upfront about that, Animal. I do. And you know what? I do hear that a lot. But let me ask you a question. My fee's too high compared to what? The cost of a bad hire? Right?
Yeah,
Like
but
our
what?
fee is 10% of what a bad hire costs. Right? But if we get you a good hire, let's discuss our guarantee and the return on investment we're going to give you because you're not going to get a bad hire.
Okay. I think that he's reading exactly what who was it? Claude or whoever it was gave him this stuff. But I like it. Just tell the guy, yeah, bad hire. A bad hire costs way more than my fee. Okay, why can't you just blurt it out like that? No, you're wrong.
Because
You're wrong, Billy.
you have to
Bad
acknowledge
hire.
that. That at least forget clarify. You can acknowledge.
Yeah, but in my
Hey,
picture. Oh, there it is.
I appreciate you being upfront about that. Or hey, my fee's too high. I get it. Right? I hear that a lot. But let
No,
me
I
ask you a
don't
question.
get it. I don't. Why
Our
can't
fee
you be more
is-
direct? You're crazy, Tom. You're
Our
wrong.
fee is compared to what? No, Animal. I say that all the time. If you're here, I'll do you what I do. Your fee's too high. Oh, you're looking for the cheapest? Hold on 1 second. I'll get you the number of David M. Marr and the Recruiting Animal. They're cheaper than I am. If fee is if it's all you care about cost, then you're probably talking
Thanks,
to the wrong
Tom.
guy.
Okay, that's different. Okay.
You're probably talking to the wrong guy. If it's all you want to talk about is the cost of the fee, then you're talking to the wrong recruiter. I'm sorry.
Okay. Here's another one that I see. I found the structure interesting. Send me some information. Okay. Then you have to say what's going to be more helpful for you. You try to pin them down, right? What do you mean send me information? What do you want to know? That's what you ask them, right?
When has an email ever been better than a conversation, Animal?
Well, no, email can be. It gives you time to think.
But when has an email ever been better than an actual conversation?
Sometimes it gives you time to think. I don't know what you're
Sometimes,
asking.
really. So you would actually ask your wife to marry you over email?
You know what?
Yes.
You weren't here when I was complaining to Rich. I don't know if you were here about my.
Well, I'm sorry,
internet.
husband.
Okay. And so I was telling, I had all these problems when I finally got on the line with the billing department. So they had to accept my bill directly over the phone. Okay.
And was that a better conversation than all the email and texting going back and forth?
No, it was terrible because I should have been able to pay online and it didn't work. Then when I called up, it wouldn't accept my phone number, wouldn't accept my account number. I had to finally wait 20 minutes to talk to somebody, right? So then she tried to sell me on a different, she was really nice. She tried to sell me on a different deal. And I was getting ready for the show. And I said, look, I got to go. I got my podcast. But I said, I'll take a look at the information online. I have to think about it to compare them. I couldn't just go on no matter how nice she was, I couldn't decide quickly if what she was telling me, even if it was cheaper and faster, was the best one available for me. Okay. So sometimes,
okay, so let's do this, Adam, I'll tell you what specifically that you want to see, just all the information. I'll send it both to you. And I will tell you this, a 5-minute conversation probably is what's better. It's end up going to do it, but I understand you can't do it right now. Why don't we schedule something for Friday at 4:00? Then we can go over both options and that'll give you more than enough time to look at it.
Okay. So you're saying that this process from your training manual, actually you have to go through every step that it suggests.
You don't have to go through every step, but
give me a chance.
There is okay, here's the thing. When you're selling, right? When you're selling or overcoming objections or whatever, there is a flow. There's a process, right? Like I always say this, right? If you do things too quickly, especially like an offer, sometimes the candidate gets a little freaked out, right? If you're like walking down the street and some dude runs up to you and says, "Here's $100, take it." You'd be like, "Whoa!" Usually $100 is a good thing, but if someone just comes up to you and says, "Here's $100, take it," you're going to step back for a second and go and think about it, right? Yeah. There has to be a flow. Yeah. There has to be a flow when you're overcoming an objection, right? There has to be a flow to it. Now, if you're talking to somebody who talks like me and just wants to get to the point, you may skip a couple of these. But if you're talking to like an engineering manager who's very big on getting all the information, you may have to acknowledge, educate, clarify, and
You're boring me, okay? And I got to tell you something. I liked that reply. The one you just sort of skipped over is sort of a baffle gab. What would be most helpful? Please send me your email. But then you'd say, well, what do you want me to send you? I can send you lots of information. What's going to be most helpful? That is a good.
This should be send me your resume. This should be send me your resume, not send me information.
Don't talk over me, okay? Don't talk over me. What do you think the reply is? Because see, I liked it because then you corner the person. It's not just a brush off. They have to say something, but I think they're going to brush you off anyway. Just send me your usual stuff, okay? What do you think the reply is? Well, tell me exactly what you need, and I'll know what to put in the email. What do you think the reply, the person who's going to give you to that, okay? What do you think?
Are you asking me a question?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm not rhetorical. I'm unlike you. I'm going to give you a chance to talk.
Okay, so what specifically would you like? Just your general information.
Yeah,
and I'm going to say
general stuff.
I got. I've been doing. And what I would reply if he just said some general information. This is what I would say. I've been doing this for a long time, 27 years. And when someone says just general information, there's only 3 reasons why they said that. 1, they're actually interested in what I have to say, but they're busy right now. I can't talk. 2, they get called by recruiters all the time, and the stuff they send them is bullshit. Or 3, you're too nice of a guy to tell me to go pound sand. Which one is it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. It's the one like you can tell the guy, hey, you're just trying to give me a brush off, right?
Yeah.
And then so he says, yeah, okay, but I'm trying to be nice about it. What do you say?
And then I would say that's perfectly fine. But let me ask you a question. Are you really in no way, shape, or form in need of hiring services like ours? Are you just saying this to get me off the phone? And that's fine. But if you truly do not have any need for hiring services like that, that's fine. But I'm a sales guy, and you're probably a sales guy. So it would be a bad thing for me to just send you some information and move on.
Okay, I think
it's all about the conversation, Animal. It's all about, and it doesn't work every time, but it's all about the conversation.
I think another possible reply would be, okay, look, I'm not going to pester you now, but I'm going to call you again. Just to touch base.
You can say too. I'm relentless, so I'm going to send you this information. Then I'm going to call you until we talk again.
Because
how do you feel about that?
I've had hiring managers tell me that which recruiter did you use? The one who's been in my face most often when I actually need somebody. It's time. It's a timing issue.
That goes right back to you asked me about like be a trusted advisor and solutions beyond filling jobs. That's how you stay in their face.
People buy from people they like, and if you
They
just
remember.
tell them what they want to hear versus telling them what they need to know, that's also going to be a huge difference too. And they will remember people that they respect.
They might not like what you say to them, but they may sure as hell respect you for saying
Correct.
it.
And even if they hate your guts, if they respect you and they know you know what you're doing, they'll come to you when they have that need.
Look how passionate David Marr became at the very end of the
Well, the
show.
reason he says this is because this is like classical selling. This is how you sell, right? It's we get caught up in a lot of the stuff that we hear and everything, but when it comes down to it, these are classical selling skills that have been like, you know, molded and trained over, and then you start realizing as your personality is there, and there's a lot of little nuances to it, but it's about the conversation. It's about, I say this all the time, I want to leave a conversation with the guy mad at me or happy with me, and that is it, because that way he remembers who I am.
I want to leave a conversation with the guy mad at me.
He's right though. I used to sell door-to-door vacuums, and you see this stuff play out real time in front of you.
The guys he made mad selling vacuums, they remembered that it was a fucking Kirby vacuum, right? And
That's exactly what I
they may
sold.
hate him because he was a hard pressure selling guy, but if they do need a vacuum, they may buy it because even though David was an asshole and I hate him, it's a good vacuum. There's nothing
Maybe.
wrong with that.
Maybe they say, you know what? I might buy a vacuum, but never for that guy who pestered me at the door. Okay, that time.
That's okay. Because if it's on his list and they call Kirby up and said, I want a vacuum, but I'm not buying from David Marr, he's still going to get credit because it was the company
You
was
can
on the
make up
list.
any story you want. Okay, listeners, if you've made it this far, under the video, I've got links to everybody's LinkedIn profile, also to Tom's. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tom's got 3 shows, okay, and he's got one URL that gives you the information about all 3 of them, and that's the recruiterroundtable.com. Okay, it's under the video. Richie Rich, who was here earlier, he's got a class every Thursday morning, 8:45 Eastern, online. You'll find the link to him as well. And David M. Marr is always interested in hearing about sourcing and recruiting jobs, especially those that are permanent, not contract. So his link will be there as well. Anything else, guys, that we should talk about? We'll come back to this, Tom. I thought it was, when I was reading it this morning, that you said we could talk about what I said. Oh, this is great. I mean, it's got tons of stuff to talk about. Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't dive deep into it, but there's a lot of really good stuff in here. And stuff that needs to be changed, but there's a lot of really good stuff in here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I screwed up my thing as we're going. Okay. That's it, everybody. So long.
Peace out.
Yeah. Peace out. Yeah. Let me see if I can stop the recording after all this time. I don't know how to use the goddamn, excuse me, David M. Marr, my fucking language. Okay. How do I get out of here? There it is. Okay. Bye-bye. Take care.